Who runs a state where there's no water, where there's endless fires, where they don't take care of these trees and these forests and so forth, the highest taxes in the country, the worst regulations in the country? This used to be California, where people wanted to go. The land of opportunity, the land of Ronald Reagan, the lowest taxes, the land of the lowest regulation, the land of entrepreneurship. Look what they've done to it. Look what Newsom has done to California. Let me add one other point. Keep that right there. Let me add one other point. This is not to say that every moron who's reporting this stuff, or every moron who's participating in it, is one of the masterminds. Masterminds basically are few in number, but they're masterminds. And so a lot of people get caught up in, I'm on Team Democrat versus Team Republican, or they get caught up in the oppressor-oppressed mindset and so forth and so on. And they may become fanatics or zealots, or they may just go along or acquiesce, that sort of thing. But there is, in fact, a movement. There is, in fact, a power. There is, in fact, a funding of what's taking place. It may be a smaller cabal, but nonetheless, its impact is significant. I'll give you an example. The Russian Revolution, about 25% of the people supported it. That's it. Mao's revolution, about 30% of the peasants supported it. That's it. Castro's revolution, almost nobody supported it. But he took over. In Nicaragua, the first Noriega communist regime was removed, but they came back and they took over. Hamas, one election, and that's it. So in other words, they don't necessarily represent a majority of the population. They don't have to represent a majority of the population. In our country, this revolution that's taking place is not with the majority of the population. It just isn't. And so it doesn't take, frankly, a ton of people to create a situation like this. Go ahead.
But we witnessed many of the protesters self-policing, keeping others in check.
Well, that's really nice that you did, but they're not the problem, are they? These self-policers are not the problem. It's the ones who aren't policed. They're the problem. Go ahead.
The National Guard's role has been minimal. California Governor Gavin Newsom posting this picture online showing troops resting on the floor, suggesting the Trump administration sent those men and women without first securing a place for them to sleep.
Okay, hold on a second. So they cite Gavin Newsom, number one, who's the biggest boob of all boobs. And number two, they send you a picture like this. So they're not prepared, they're not ready. So number one, they're frightening, and on the other hand, they're sleeping on the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's too bad they didn't actually interview anybody, interview one of these men. You're sent on a moment's notice. I'm sorry they don't have time to set up hotel rooms. They don't have time to even put tents in place. It's an emergency. You're called at your home. This is National Guard. This is not regular military. This is not active duty. They're not on active duty. They're calling men and women who are in their place of business, who are sleeping at home, and they're saying, okay, Frank, Sally, whatever, show up here, bring your gear, let's go. And that's what happens. So, and look at this. They're not prepared. They don't even have any place to stay. If they were doing this for a week, they'd have a place to stay. Is ABC News okay with that? Of course not. I am showing you in a period of what, 5 minutes or less? The propaganda, the distortion, the deceit, the lies, the manipulation. And this is what you do in totalitarian regimes. This is the sort of media, the sort of report, the sort of propaganda you get when you're trying to push an agenda. This isn't news. Go ahead.
We're arranging supplies like food and water, calling it a haphazard stunt. The military disagreeing, responding, the soldiers have ready access to food and water as needed.
Okay. So why did you even do this part on your clip? The soldiers have food and water and shelter. They have food and water as needed. So why do we care what Newsom has to say? Newsom's not even involved with the soldiers. He didn't even want them there. So why are you running his propaganda? We know why. Go ahead.
There are now more U.S. troops deployed to Los Angeles than Iraq and Syria.
Gee willikers, I thought I already heard that. So that's the line. There are now more troops assigned. I believe there's more troops there than are in the Bahamas, actually. I believe there's more American troops there than there are in, where else? The Caribbean? More troops there than are in Disneyland? What is the point of that? There's not even a lot of troops. You think about 4,000 National Guards, I heard 300, maybe 700 Marines. I want you to think of a baseball stadium. If you had 5,000 people in a baseball stadium that holds 50,000 people, you wouldn't even notice them, would you? I think they call that a real bust. If you have 5,000 troops in a city of millions and millions of people, that's not that many. A lot of troops would be sending in 50,000 troops, something like that, but they didn't do that. The president didn't do that. Wow, is this the worst of the worst? Go.
Pete Hegseth on Capitol Hill with DOD leaders saying the mission will go on for the next 60 days, costing $134 million.
So suddenly the media are worried about expenses and spending. We have Doge that's, look at what we found. Oh my God, we got all this Social Security. They're 112 years old. Or this is going on, they're going on. So what do? Get Musk. Get him. Destroy him. Get him. Here it's $134 million. Wow. For the federal government, for the Democrats, for the bloat, what is that? Is that like lunchtime in the federal bureaucracy? Maybe 30 minutes? Maybe 15 seconds? I don't know. But now all of a sudden they're cost conscious. Not with the Inflation Reduction Act, which blew hundreds of billions of dollars, not with all the fraud and abuse that's taking place. All of a sudden, oh my God, it's got $134 million? That is absolutely unacceptable. Really sick. Go ahead.
We have deployed National Guard and the Marines to protect them in the execution of their duties, because we ought to be able to enforce immigration law in this country.
Why are you sending war fighters to cities to interact with civilians?
Every American citizen deserves to live in a community that's safe, and ICE agents need to be able to do their job. They're being attacked for doing their job, which is deporting illegal criminals.
And in the latest round of his feud with President Trump, late today, Governor Gavin Newsom pushing back, asking a court to block the unprecedented use of military personnel.
Okay, hold on a second. It's not unprecedented use. I'm so sick of these lies. I'm so sick of them. It's not unprecedented use. And since this report the other day, the federal district judge, his last name is Breyer. Does that sound familiar to anybody? He's the younger brother of the former and retired Justice Stephen Breyer. He's a liberal Democrat. He's an older gentleman. He's on senior status. I just tell you that as a footnote, which means he takes a certain number of cases, not as many as a full load. And he has preliminarily decided that, yes, the federal government can send the National Guard and troops there. This is a case that is for drama, it's for show, it's for politics. It doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning, even if it goes all the way to the Supreme Court. There's precedent for this. There's actual federal laws for what's being done. Donald Trump's not violating anything. He's not a dictator. He is responsible. He's doing exactly what needs to be done to bring peace and civility and order to the opposite that's taking place, because a city mayor and a governor are perfectly happy with this. Now, I want to remind you, it's the same governor where they have water shortages in the whole state of California, and the same governor where an entire community was burning, and they send the firefighters in. They're telling them there's water, and there's no water. There's no water pressure going on. Who runs a state where there's no water, where there's endless fires, where they don't take care of these trees and these forests and so forth? The highest taxes in the country, the worst regulations in the country. This used to be California, where people wanted to go. The land of opportunity, the land of Ronald Reagan, the land of the lowest taxes, the land of the lowest regulations, the land of entrepreneurship. Look what they've done to it. Look what Newsom has done to California. Go ahead.
to assist with immigration raids. And a short time ago, LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell addressing accusations his officers did too little, too late to assist federal officers.
Why don't you put in the part where he says they were overwhelmed and what's being done there is disgusting, rather than play your propaganda games. Go ahead.
My understanding, based on what we've looked at, is it was within 38 minutes. Normal
Total, from the time that you started to the time you actually got
from the time that we became aware of the need to the time we got there was 38 minutes.
And David, just moments ago...
Excuse me, Gutman, if that is your name. Excuse me. The police chief said they were overwhelmed. Folks, are we missing something? Is there not a riot that's been taking place? Is it not violent? Are there not cars burning? Are people not running around with Mexican flags? Was there not damage to a federal courthouse, attacks on federal ICE officers as well as local officers? Are we missing something? No. And you should be outraged by every minute of this. But what you're hearing from ABC News, and frankly, almost all the rest of the media but Fox and a few independents, what you're seeing here is propaganda. What you're seeing here is what state-run media want. State-run media. But wait a minute, the president is running the country. State-run media in the sense of the permanent government. That is, the permanent exercising of power. Go ahead.
There was a blow to Governor Newsom, a federal judge rejecting Governor Newsom's bid to block the deployment of National Guard.
And what did the federal judge say? Hello? He basically said, this is ridiculous. Basically, that's what he said to the governor. What are you doing here? Now I got to hold a hearing today, and then we're going to have a result. But this is a dead case. So the fact that the best this governor can do is not protect his citizens, but do a show lawsuit, that is at least part of the subject of this discussion, is so outrageous. Go ahead.
And Marines here to Los Angeles, and we just wrapped that interview with the LAPD chief, who told us that the protesters you see out here, they are not going to be interacting with either the Marines or the California National Guard. That will remain the jurisdiction, he said, of local law enforcement.
The last thing he says is they're not interacting with the National Guard or the Marines. They build you up, right? Oh my God, the Marines and National Guard? What's going on here? Oh, there's a dictatorship. Hear what Trump said? Oh my God. I mean, there's going to be no interaction with the National Guard and the Marines. None. So why were they sent there? To back up the cops. Why else were they sent there? To protect federal buildings and federal officials. Why else were they sent there? To help put down the riots, whether there's interaction or not. And I suggest there was some interaction, but that's okay. In fact, that's better than okay. So they bring you, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this. It's like a military dictatorship. You know, Trump, there he is at Fort Bragg. No interaction. No interaction. At the very end. It's really grotesque.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.